I got you, people. So it's like the media, usually most of the platforms like YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and all that are talking about the notorious Hells Angel coming to Colorado to stop the Venezuelan gangs taking over the state. Now, before we get into all this Hells Angel stuff, the Hells Angels before was a respectful biker club. It wasn't a gang, and it wasn't considered like the Hells Angel outlaw rebel individuals, right? The first people that started the club were actually World War II veterans, right? But when the war ended, these veterans had nothing to do. When they came back from the war, they couldn't adjust, and most of them were mechanics, right? They were diesel mechanics on tanks, Bradleys, fighter jets. So they couldn't just fit in just like that, because they had all this energy, they had all this trauma from the war. So what they did, the ones that already knew each other in Fontana, California, it started in 1948. The founder, I'm not going to put the name down, the founder started the group, the bike club, in 1948. Right? So they put the motorcycle club in leadership according to military conduct, right? With ranks, with patches, with codes to follow. So during that time, until I think, I'm not gonna say the year because it's a lot of research out there. You can look it up. Everything was going all right with the motorcycle club, but as the motorcycle club grew, they had problems with other rival motorcycle clubs. But now they call these other clubs considered gangs. It wasn't clubs, at least to the NYPD or the government agencies. They wasn't considered motorcycle clubs no more because they were too big. And they were considered outlaw gangs, motorcycle outlaw gangs, rebels, whatever you call it. So the Hells Angels became Hells Angels because there were mechanics, diesel mechanics, tank drivers and Bradleys. There were pilots and fighter jets. So that's how they got the name Hells Angels, from aviator bombers and all that. So the Hells Angels started having chapters all over the state of America. So they got big. It was already out of control. So these first generation veterans were getting old, and they couldn't just keep up and controlling the chapters. So most of the members were also rebels or other individuals that wasn't veterans from the war. They were just individuals that got caught in society running from the law, or there were other rival gang members joining other gangs for protection. So the Hells Angels had people that wasn't following the code from military standards. So the Hells Angels became now an affiliated gang, outlaw gang, by its own country, by the state. And the story goes further than that. Some Hells Angels wanted to support the war and go back into the war. So some of them volunteer in the war, and they would take their own motorcycles that they had built and modified to the war. But when the war ended and all the military pulled out, most of the Hells Angels, you can look it up, the United States Armed Forces, they didn't give them support to transfer their motorcycles back to the state. So most of their equipment was left behind by the government. They never gave them no transportation back to come to their own country. So a lot of motorcycle club members that were veterans, apart from the Hells Angels, were disappointed what the government had done to them, being that they were as veterans and they was also patriot to the government, didn't give them the assistance. So the Hells Angels changed their attitudes and they became rebellious against also the government. So in the 1970s, that's when it got worse. They started getting into drug trafficking, taking hits, payment, kidnapping, extortion, laundering money, gun trafficking for other gangs, things like that, doing hits. So this generation of Hells Angels was not good at all. They will terrorize neighborhoods. They will cause trouble anywhere they go with the people. Even if you look at them or you wasn't look at them, they would just go up to you and start trouble, you know, and things like that. So these Hells Angels are no better than any gangs. So that's what I'm saying. Just because these Hells Angels are coming so-called to save the citizens from these gangs, they think they're gonna get a free patch to come do the same thing they did in the past. That's not gonna happen. Gangs are gangs, and gangs need to be eliminated regardless of that. You cannot save one gang and leave another one, because they're just gonna keep on doing the same thing. Nothing changes. You can't get a criminal to change his mind. A criminal will always be a criminal if he doesn't change. He's been in jail more than twice. He's a career criminal. So I don't think no Hells Angels are gonna do anything. And if you think about it, anybody that been in World War II and was part of the Hells Angels, right now to this day, if you calculate, they'd be 80 to 90 years old. And most Hells Angels were doing drugs, drinking, shooting up. You know, right now, they're not even, most of them are not even living. And I don't think somebody that's a Hells Angel has got a family is going to leave his family to come over to Colorado to fight another gang to lose his life. You know, it's no way about it. If you come over here to start trouble with another gang, you're looking for death. That's why there's people that get paid for that. The government has its agencies to deal with that. People that really get paid, that are trained. And I'm not saying that most of the Hells Angels don't know how to handle a weapon. Remember, most of them were veterans. So these veterans were knowledgeable with fighting wars and using a handgun, a weapon, or automatic. But in today's day, that everybody has a handgun and never been trained without it, you're gonna have civilians killing each other and gangs killing innocent bystanders. So I don't think that's gonna do any good for anybody. But if you believe that another gang is gonna come out here to another state to save your citizens, by all means. But anyway, you take this information, you look it up, and do what you want with it. And with that, I'll let you go and you think about that.